Just give it another minute here.
It's not funny. It is. I can feel it. It's not visible.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. A couple of reminders. Please mute, silence your phones. No video recording. This will be provided by the NCAA. We ask that you please wear masks when inside the room. You guys are okay. And then if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. So with that, we will open up questions to players. Go ahead.
We didn't get a chance to talk to you guys when you guys were the number 3 seed. What does it mean to you as players to get to potentially your last 2 games at Chrysler as seniors? What does that mean to you? I know, Larry, you're coming back next year, but what does it you, Naz and Danielle, what does that mean to you to potentially, or not potentially, hosting those last 2 games in front of all the fans?
I mean, it means a ton. I think that we came into Michigan with, on a mission and, want to complete a lot of our goals. And, this was one of our goals. And the fact that we're being able to do it during our senior year is super special. I mean, as a senior, you're like, you get to play the last 2 games in front of your crowd and, have so many of our supporters who's been with us since we've been freshmen to come in, not have to travel too far to see us play. So it's a special moment just to be in Chrysler one more time and just being around those fans especially.
Yeah, I think just to echo that, I think it's so exciting to be in Ann Arbor, to be in front of our home crowd, to play in Chrysler again. Being here means the world to all of us. So having everyone be able to come support us and be here it's really been fun.
Over here on the right.
This is for any of you guys. What do you think the biggest strength of this team is?
I think just the way we play. I think that, looking at kind of our roster from top to bottom, we might not necessarily be the most talented, but I think just the culture that we have and the way that we play together is really, really special, and I think that you can see that from an outsider's point of view. So just continuing to play as hard as we can, be the hardest working team in America, I think we'll definitely have an advantage.
So you've had some time to regroup since the Big Ten tournament. What's kind of been the team message heading into March Madness?
Yeah, I think just refocusing and switching our perspective a little bit. I think, some of the losses that we had down the end of our season really dimmed all of the great things that we did early on and the great season that we did have. So just, putting down that weight of those losses and having fun again. I think just refocusing on that, getting back to who we were. I think we had some really great practices this week. So just having fun together again, getting back in the groove, just getting back to who we are and what we do, and having fun is at the core of that. Just enjoying this moment because, not everybody gets a chance to be here.
Yeah, a big thing was to kind of treat those 2 weeks as a preseason again. This is a new season, 0-0, and kind of taking that pressure off yourself if you did end up picking some of that up throughout the course of the season. But getting back to our basics and playing our basketball throughout the course of the year, you're always game planning for someone else, and you only get a day or 2 to really work on yourself. But just having those 2 weeks that we have to really work on ourselves, focus in, and have fun with it has really been the message for the postseason.
Go down here.
So last year there were some issues with the NCAA not, giving you guys adequate facilities. Has this year been different? If so, how?
I think I can speak on just this little March Madness logo right here. Seeing this has been crazy just to see that we have, it's just March Madness now. It's not like the women's tournament. So I think that's definitely a start and definitely really great to see. So just thinking about that and thinking about even that small step and the way that people are talking about our tournament. I was walking down the street the other day in Ann Arbor, and a group of guys was talking. They're like, guys, like, there are women's brackets out right now. And I'm like, yeah, like, good. People know. So just keeping that in mind that, we're building a little bit more traction and a little bit more respect.
Go over here, Anthony.
Talk about, obviously you guys all went through this last year in terms of playing in the tournament. What kind of comfort does that give you going into this year, having experienced it last year, and any of those maybe jitters that you might have first experience in the tournament are not there?
Yeah, I think obviously, like you said, being able to have that experience like we did last year and having some of the success that we did definitely gives us confidence coming into this tournament. And, maybe even if people on the outside don't believe what we can do, our belief on the inside is there. We think we can beat anyone in the country. So, just having that belief and having that experience of being able to, playing with Baylor last year and then beating them this year so far. Having the confidence that we can beat the top teams in the country, it's definitely huge to have that experience.
Go down here on the right.
With your guys' success against ranked opponents this year, what does that do for your guys' confidence level, and how can you use that heading into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think that's just a testament, of how well we can play, and kind of what Dee said, just remembering, how great, great games, some of the great games that we had throughout the season, and not forgetting about that. And I think that's a confidence booster for ourselves, to remember that, the outcomes of a lot of those games and how well, we played as a complete team when we were at our best. So just, a big thing of confidence at that point, remembering those games.
What is the message you guys are giving to the underclassmen, maybe Layla Feely in particular, as she had a really good season for a freshman? And what are you guys telling her that can make her have have a big impact in the March Madness?
I think something that, I've tried to being able to preach to Layla, throughout this whole second half of the season is just have fun with it. I think a lot of people have seen the success that she's had, especially the Iowa game, is kind of her coming out game. So I think just her having that confidence in herself and just the belief that we all have in her and the coaching staff has in her, just trying to take her under our wing and just, instill confidence. And, I think she's played really, really well so far and excited to see, how she plays in this tournament for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think another big thing is just remembering what got you here, staying in the gym, staying focused, being able to be coached, and that's all the things that she's continued to do. But that's for everybody at this point. Like I said, it's a new season. Things are a little bit different. It's win or go home. So just remembering the things that you did, to get to this point.
I'm curious about you guys' experiences hosting the first round. I know games haven't started yet, and how that differs from, traveling to San Antonio or traveling to Louisville or Baylor, and how, comparing those so far.
Yeah, I think it's been really nice to be able to stay in Ann Arbor, not adding that extra travel definitely is nice. And like we said about, playing in Chrysler again, we had a great crowd the entire year, so I think that'll certainly play to our advantage. And it's just comfortable, we know what's going on in Ann Arbor here. We know what Chrysler is like, so just having that to our advantage, not having to, go somewhere, have a time change and all that. So it's been nice to just kind of stay home for a little while.
Yeah. It's funny at the same time because there's a lot of changes kind of going around in Chrysler, whether there's posters and stuff going on. But I think it alleviates a little bit of the stress for people like Danielle because she doesn't like to fly. So if she can have a few more games with less stress, I'm sure that's beneficial for her.
Any further questions for the players? All right, thank you, ladies. You're dismissed.
Thank you.
We'll get Coach up here.
Hey,
Good afternoon, Coach.
how are you?
Doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Questions?
Coach, give me the first word to describe your emotions when you saw your name pop up on the screen this time as a host.
Well, first, Matt, it really took a long time. So even though we felt like, we were going to get in and we were going to have a chance to host, you're kind of holding your breath and like, all right, can we have been called in the first bracket so we could have celebrated a little bit quicker? But I just think, and I've talked to you a lot about this, the sign of a great program is one that could be consistent year in and year out. And when our name popped up as a host, I thought that meant we have taken tremendous strides in getting to where we want to be. And the opportunity for us to be in Ann Arbor, especially with the way our fan base has kind of rallied around us this year and the support that has continued to grow, is just tremendous for our entire program, but the community, for the University of Michigan, and for women's basketball in the state of Michigan.
First of all, congratulations on hosting the tournament or hosting the first 2 rounds. My question is, what have you guys seen on film from Americans' defense over in their last 14 games? They're holding opponents, I believe, 53 points, which is, I think, 8th best in the nation. And I think it kind of goes around their player, Jade Edwards, who almost leads in every category: points, rebounds, minutes, steals, you name it. What have you guys seen from maybe Jade and maybe Americans' defense in particular?
Yeah, they're really a great team. I mean, I think all the teams that are still playing as of today are really great programs. And as you saw by watching the NCAA tournament yesterday, anything can happen. And you saw a 15 seed beating a 2 seed on the men's side. It could certainly happen on the women's side. So a lot of great basketball teams, and American is certainly one of them. They hold opponents to low scoring. They really play from the inside out. They try to protect the paint. They throw a lot of numbers in the paint, which we face a lot during the course of the season anyway because of Nas. So I think it is something that we will be accustomed to. I think pace is going to be really important tomorrow because we don't want to really play that pace. When I think about American, similar to Indiana in terms of Indiana really tries to defend that way, really tries to protect the paint, really tries to keep the scoring low. So, when we prepare for opponents outside of our conference, we think, okay, who are they similar to? Who can we compare them to? And I would think from a defensive perspective, similar to an Indiana-type team.
Coach, when you're coaching, you're trying to build a chemistry and get a chemistry. When you lose a player, you have to kind of reestablish a new chemistry. And when you get a player that's been out that's back, you kind of have to reestablish chemistry again. Having said that, having Leah start to be back and now be back, what's it been like in terms of reestablishing good chemistry going forward?
Yeah, I think that's really a great question. And I don't know if people on the outside really kind of recognize that or see that on a daily basis. I think the thing that I'm pretty fortunate with is that I have such tremendous women in our program that really are able to adjust. And we always talk about, the things that happened with COVID and being able to pivot and being able to handle adversity and being able to handle what you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. If there's anything the last couple of years have taught us, it's kind of that. And this year has been that for us. We have had so many different starting lineups, whether that was illness, whether that was injury, whether that was COVID. We've had to adjust and we've had to pivot through the course of the year. So, when we lost Leah for the last month, different people had to take on other roles. And then, she was kind of back and then she's not 100% and then she kind of came back again. So I think we're always adjusting, but I think we have such great kids that they're just so welcoming and so embracing to change. And I think that's probably this generation because they've had to face so much of it, that our team has really handled that. And they're excited when she's there. We're on top of the world. But when she's not there, we know that we still can go on and be successful. And she, from the sideline, I think part of that, too, is that she has done such a tremendous job of being, okay, I'm not out on the court, but I'm going to be right here and I'm going to be, a great teammate from the sideline. And she's, she talked about Layla a little bit, but she's taken Layla under her wing, and so has Nas. And what greater role models to have for a freshman than those two. And she gets a different perspective from each one. But when Leah's not out there on the court, she's taken Layla under her wing and trying to help our team be a better team. So it has been an adjustment period, but I think our team has done a really good job of it.
Hey, Kim, wanted to get your thoughts on what you think the biggest strength of your team is.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to read that article. Was it the Players Tribune this week that came out with Nas? But holy cow! I mean, even thinking about it, I was like, wow, because she just captured everything that our program stands for and the culture of our program in that piece. And just to hear it from someone on the inside, other than me preaching it, but to hear how our kids truly feel and what they truly believe is really special. And they believe that they have intangible things that no one else has, and they believe that they play harder than anyone else, and they believe that their toughness is and their grit and their fire is greater than anyone else, and that they can rebound with anyone and they can compete with anyone. And I think, it's easy for me to sit up here and say that sometimes, but when you have, the players in your program that truly believe that and that believe that they can count on each other. I mean, Nas is a special, special player and a special young woman, but there are other pieces, and I think that they believe in each other and they believe that they can count on each other and create something special together. So with that, if you talk to X's and O's, I mean, I know that's kind of an intangible thing, but we have a great inside-outside game. When you have a presence like you do, Nas, inside that draws so much attention, and then the ability of players on the outside to make plays to counter that, I think that's pretty special. I think our rebounding ability is one of the top in the country. I think, when Leah is going and Layla's going, and then you have Maddie, being able to shoot the ball the way that she can, and then the way that Emily complements Nas is absolutely incredible. And then, you add the toughness and the edge of Danielle Roush and the never quit of Danielle Roush into that mix. It creates a pretty special group.
Any further questions for Coach?
They asked the players what's different about hosting, and they obviously haven't really experienced it yet. You haven't either, but you've been on the other side in many tournaments where you are on another team's floor. So what are you most looking forward to about not being on somebody else's floor in these first two games of the tournament?
Yeah, Matt, you've been with me for a few of these, but I go through my head, and last year was obviously different because we were in the bubble. So that's the only real memory. I mean, they have one other because the year before the NCAA tournament was canceled. Last year they were on a neutral. Their freshman year, and Leah wasn't with us, but Danielle and Nas, their freshman year, we were at Louisville. And the year prior to that, we were at Baylor. That's all I could say is I would always say after the game, man, I wish we had him on a neutral court. Man, I wish we had him on a neutral court. Because, when the Louisville 15,000 people got going, when it was a tight game, it was a major difference. Same at Baylor. I mean, we were in a tight game in the second half, and then, the Baylor made a couple plays and their fans got behind them. I'm hoping for the same kind of environment here this weekend, starting obviously tomorrow would be in the most important day. You got to get past one before you can even think about the next. But I'm hoping that that environment will be created here, because I know being on the other side of it was extremely, extremely difficult to play. And when I think about our season this year and, the Iowa game at home, the Indiana game at home, the Maryland game at home, and two of those games Leo didn't even play. And we were successful in those games. And yeah, it was our team for sure, but it was our crowd and it was our fans, and it was an opportunity to be playing at Chrysler and protecting the Block M. So it's definitely been a difference for us this season. I don't think, our players really appreciate it, but I have vivid memories of all those times we were on somebody else's home court for sure.
Anything further for Coach? All right,
Thank you,
Coach.
guys. Appreciate y'all being here.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Next one's at 2:05.
And of course, we don't get any Zoom till like.
Yeah, I figured there would be a couple, but there wasn't anybody. Oh well.